Hi, so I'm just going to discuss my different field experiences. To begin with, I didn't get to observe a high school in the fall like everyone else did. So I'm just going to compare my field experience at the middle school with my experience as a high schooler at Hamilton. So to begin with, I just noticed that Edgewood was very different than Hamilton. Like the demographics, the kids, everything just seemed like not, I don't know, so different than I was used to. So at Edgewood, I would say it's very rural. And when observing, like, I didn't see any behavioral issues. Like, most of the kids respected authority, they did what they were told, and, like, very much compliant to whatever the teacher had to say, and were very engaged, just, like, listening-wise. And that compared to Hamilton just, like, stood out to me, because at Hamilton, I was in honors classes for the most part, so it was, I would say most of us were pretty well behaved, and we did respect authority. But other than that, like, I remember sitting in on inclusion classes, or just, like, CP, or, like, the other levels, and most kids, I mean, not most, but there are a decent amount of I would say kids, like, didn't do well with authority. They weren't good with getting told what to do. I think it just goes to show how some of the kids were brought up, and I think a lot of that has to do with just, like, parental involvement. And I feel like a lot of kids at Hamilton, they don't have, like, very strong parental support. Like, yes, there are some, but not a ton. And Hamilton is, like, considered urban. So it's very diverse compared to Edgewood, I realized. And then going off that, like, I've gone to Hamilton my whole life. And in high school, I noticed that the math teachers, and not all the teachers, but a lot of the math teachers, kind of the same day to day. Like, as far as structure goes, we would go over homework, have a bell ringer before that, and then usually we would just get lectured. Like, literally the whole class was just, like, a lecture. We didn't really split up into groups. We didn't do, like, anything, like, any fun activities, I would say, which caused little engagement. I feel like most of us were just there to get the grade or there to, like, pass the class and graduate, not because we wanted to be there or wanted to learn about math. It was, like, kind of boring, which I'm not sure entirely why I want to be a math teacher, but I do. And to go along with that, I noticed at Edgewood, like, my field teacher, her name was Miss Arnold, she incorporated so many, like, different strategies to teach the kids. It wasn't just, like, lecture. Yes, there was some, but, like, that wasn't it. She mixed things up a lot. Like, she had, it was called Math Lab Approach, which I really enjoyed. Like, I'd never seen it before. And what she did was she posted, what was it called, task cards, like, all along the room. Like, there were 2 on this wall and 2 on this wall and 1 on the desk, and just each of them had a different problem. And these kids were doing, like, probability and just, like, setting up proportions. Not probability, but just, like, proportions and stuff. And then they were in pairs or groups of 3, just, like, depending on the size of the class. And then from there, they got to go station to station at their own pace and just, like, work on the problems. And kind of what I, like, realized, like, one, I was able to walk around, see how they were doing, like, gauge where they were at, and then I was able to provide enough support to, like, help them along, which was really cool. And then also I noticed that, like, if one kid didn't understand it, the other one was explaining it. And I feel like, like, we as teachers can't explain things, but, like, when a peer does it, it's so much more meaningful. It's different, I would say. I just thought that was really cool, and I wish we had had that at Hamilton because we did not. And I don't know if that was fear of groups of, like, losing control of the class, which I understand, but I think sometimes you just have to go out on a limb and trust that. And trust your kids and, like, build that. Then going on to similarities, there weren't, like, great similarities, but I realized that in both classes, like at Hamilton High School and at Edgewood, it was mainly teacher-centered, like teacher-centered learning compared to student-centered learning, which I, like, wasn't a huge fan of. I guess growing up, I was just so accustomed to it. Like, that's kind of what it was, but I wish it weren't. Like, I feel like it's so much more meaningful to the students when they explore on their own, when they, like, derive formulas, when they do that, and they just are allowed to explore. I think it's meaningful to them, and they're, like, more inclined to understand a concept and want to, and, like, go further with that. And biggest takeaways, I think just that I feel like in the future, I want to do more student-centered learning. I don't want to just do, like, teacher-centered. I remember, like, entering this class and doing my first lesson for my unit, the unit plan that we had in groups or whatever, mine was just mainly like lecturing them. Like, they didn't do very much on their own. It was just like me teaching them, me giving them formulas, which I don't think is an effective way to teach at this point. At first I was like, oh, this is fine, but now I'm like, I don't think that's like super meaningful to the students, and I don't think that's going to like get them to that next level and prepare them for what is to come. I think I also realized just how important like an engaging activity can be to the kids. Like, I know it's a lot of work, and like prior to this I was like, I'm not gonna have all my activities be super engaging or all my lessons be engaging, but this made me want that. It made me want to be the best teacher I can for my future students and just get them excited about learning, because I think a lot of the times we're not, and that just like saddens me at this point, because I want kids to want to learn. I want kids to better themselves. That's all I have. I think that my field experience at Edgewood Middle School was great. I wouldn't change it for the world. At first I was like upset about getting placed there. But it was definitely a different, I don't know, I wasn't expecting a change in pace, a change in kids. I really enjoyed it. That's all I have.